Everybody and their neighbor, welcome back to Gear and Gigs. I'm your host, Jetstone. So glad you could stop by today. I have with me one of my favorite people, one of your favorite people too, I'm betting. It's Reg. Reg, how are you?
I'm good. It's funny, I'm one of my favorite people too, but thanks.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, that's some confidence. We like that. We like that to a degree. We really like that.
Right, to a degree.
Right, to a degree. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be doing a combination recommendation, which is a mouthful, I know. But we're going to be recommending two pedals that we think go together really well. They're two. One is a fairly new pedal. The other one's been around for just a little bit. But man, oh man, they just go together as a guitar player pedal combo to take out live, to take to a studio gig, just to mess around with. They really work well, and it covers a lot of ground, so you don't need a lot of other stuff unless you need specialized things. It can really do an awful lot. So it's got some of the kind of stuff that I know Reggie likes real well too, so I'm hoping that you dig this. Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, and as everyone knows, I mean, we are both not really big pedal people, so to keep it to as few pedals as possible, I think is
right.
Yeah, moving in the right direction.
Right. Well, once in a while, you don't want to have to take out your big board. You want to grab a couple, throw them in the guitar case, and get to the show, or a pickup gig, or whatever. Throw it in a backpack. This is an easy way to do that, and it's. I think you're gonna like the tones. I think they're really good tones, and that's one side of it. The other side of it is they're both very easy to use. There's knobs for everything that are instantly grabbable, so you don't have menus or anything like that, and the pedal that's not the overdrive pedal, one of them's an overdrive pedal, the pedal that does all of the spatial stuff has, not spatial like, oh, that's spatial, spatial, spatial stuff. Every time I say it now, I hear that, no, I'm the church lady, spatial, it has spatial things. You can set presets. You can have up to 8, I think it's 8 presets. So you can quickly go through them, and that's kind of cool. You can also do an expression pedal with this. So there's some flexibility there too. But today it's mostly about how do they work together? How do they sound? Does Reg like them? Do I like them when they work together? Which, spoiler alert, I do. We got the Friedman Dirty Shirley over here being the distortion and overdrive, which is, of course, a pedal version of their amplifier, the Dirty Shirley, which I've had the pleasure to use a million times. Not mine, but other people that have brought them into the studio.
I'm familiar with it, too.
Yeah, great amp.
They're awesome amps. Not familiar with their pedals, any Friedman pedals. In fact, I've never, but they're really kind of tailored to guitar players, much more than bass players anyway.
That's true.
They're mostly just... sort of drive pedals that kind of mimic or sort of are related to certain amps they make.
Typically,
from my understanding, right?
Yeah, typically it is. And this one, in this case, is a recreation of the Dirty Shirley.
Yeah.
Right. Their runt is also a really nice, really good.
I love the little runt. Yeah,
the runt's a sweet amp. Yeah, very good amp. We've used that a lot in recordings and stuff around here. The pedal, the other pedal, the pedal, as opposed to the amp, the pedal is the Wampler Metaverse, the new Wampler Metaverse, which is... Brian Wampler's description of it in his own personal video that he talked about this pedal, which is great. I recommend you watching that. It was all the pedals he wanted to bring to a gig in one, right? Because he liked all of them. Who doesn't like an analog and a digital and a tape and all these different kinds of echoes, modulation echo and that kind of thing. So this is a lot of the classic stuff emulated, as well as 4, I think, pedals of Wampler's that's been emulated, so that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah, unless you already own all 4 of those Wampler pedals, in which case it's just a matter of convenience. I'm sure individually they're better somehow. I'm sure they are. Right. But this thing sounds great. What drew me to it when I watched his video was the tone. It was immediately like, how some echoes are just... They sound great, like a good tape echo just immediately sounds great, or certain Strymon things just immediately have this, oh yeah, that's cool, that's polished, that sounds great. This was like immediately musical for me when I heard it. I was like, oh man, that just I could do stuff with that. That sounds great. And once I got it and started messing with how quick it is to get around on, it's exciting. Now, I'll go into the controls of both, and then we'll get right back into the playing and everything else. But what we've got here on the Friedman is exactly what you'd expect: bass, treble, mid, presence, volume, and gain. That's
there you go.
There's your amp. So that's exactly what it does. And each one of them works, I would say, predictably. kind of the way you'd expect, really. None of them has been like, oh, that you don't want that. It's like every time I go, well, this guitar's a little mid-rangey, dialed in the mid-range, and it seems to work. And not all things do that. Sometimes they're too harsh. Sometimes the sweeps are too big or too extreme or too narrow and too extreme. So this is actually really well done in that regard. I don't know how closely, I don't have a Dirty Shirley to compare it to directly, but it sure feels like that. So, I can't vouch for its extreme authenticity other than to say, obviously, it's put out by the same people and they feel like it's okay. So,
would you cause some sort of Mandela effect or something like that if you ran a Dirty Shirley pedal into a
Dirty Shirley? Now, that is interesting.
What would happen?
Double
because I could see some kind of like shift of dimensions
Right.
or reality or something like that. Like
it's double
like
dirty.
Meeting yourself, traveling in time and meeting a different version of yourself.
Right, right.
That whole, I think it's kind of like that.
Don't cross the streams, Ghostbusters,
all
right?
that. It's most religions have something about that.
Yeah, I think it's double dirty, and it's
Whew.
yeah, that's a Shirley. You got to think twice before you bring her home to your parents.
My God. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Now, if you run a Dirty Shirley into a runt,
different thing altogether.
not going there. Let your mind conjure. Okay.
Or run the runt into the Dirty Shirley. And
Once again, we're not going there.
No.
And God forbid their other amp is called a Pink Taco. We're moving on. We're moving on to the controls on the Metaverse. The Metaverse has got what I think to be just the perfect quick controls, right? So it's got a tone, right, which is great. So you can immediately dial up the tone. It's got the feedback, of course, and the delay amount and the mix, which is what you want. But then it's got a modulation knob that you can grab and move with any of the delays. So you can always add a little bit of that. And that's one of the coolest things, because now you don't really need a chorus and a flanger to get that spatial thing.
Right?
To get that makes that thing that makes your hands do
be some modulated delay too. It's just
and that's where this thing is great. It just wins in spades in the modulation delay wars. It's killer. It's got here. I'm going to turn this real quick. It's got analog. It's got what they call wet, which is the modulated delay. It's got the bucket grade. Now these are all emulations, right? So they're not the real thing. It's got the jet, which has got the flange built in, and might be one that I like for no apparent reason.
You might.
It's got one that's called Doc. That's one of their pedals. FTE, which is a tape echo. ETH, which is ethereal, like one of their pedals, the ethereal. A mod, which is just a completely modulated one. An SPC, which is like a Roland Space Echo. A tape, which is like, actually, ironically, like either the Echoplex or like the Benson Echo Rec. They kind of get both under that category. And then a Digi, which is like the, if I'm not mistaken, the TC Electronics 2290 back in the day, the rack mount, super pristine, totally pristine, clear, no degradation of signal as it modulates down.
And I imagine you probably have a long delay time too, probably available on virtually. Like even on like a tape delay, you'd have a long, I'm guessing.
I don't know. Yeah, let's find out. I actually didn't look that spec up, so I don't know what the longest delay time is. So we'll check that out. It's stereo in and stereo out, which very nice. Love that. So now you can put it anywhere you want.
All
in the
pedals
chain.
should be stereo in, stereo out. I think just to
be clear. Yeah.
Right. Even if it's not a stereo pedal, at least that way you're running a stereo signal through everything.
Right.
That's all I'm just.
That's all you're saying. I agree.
All I'm saying.
Well, maybe not distortion, although that would be cool. Okay, never mind. It would be cool. Okay, it would be cool.
You could, so long as it's okay to have a couple pedals up front in the chain that are mono, so long as
compressor or distortion.
It goes. The rest of the way just goes stereo all the way through.
I agree. I agree. Phaser, stereo phaser.
Phasers, especially any kind of modulation effect.
Yeah.
Chorus, you see stereo choruses a lot. Not a lot of stereo phasers.
Not a lot of stereo in on choruses either.
No.
Which, maybe I want it later in the chain. So anyway, another discussion another day. But yes, fascinating. It's got a trails switch on the back, so you can click that and it'll switch on the buffer. And then when you turn the pedal on, bypass, whatever echoes you had active at the time will continue until they fade away. So that's pretty cool, especially if you like messing with it, because this can do the whole messing with the knobs after the fact and make it go on with runaway stuff. So if you're into that kind of thing, sometimes it's kind of nice to have the trails, because you can turn off any more input to the delay and then just mess with what you got.
Let the wacky finish itself.
Exactly. I don't know if that's exactly it. Yeah, sure, yeah. And it's got full MIDI in. It uses the little mini MIDI jacks, which I'm a 5-pin MIDI guy. For me,
I like the big original stuff too. It's like
but
when
it's
in,
I understand.
They lock in and there's no accidentally pulling it out.
It's a size thing. Yeah, that's true.
It is.
I get it's a size thing. Tap tempo, as you would expect. When you hold down the switches, you can do some secondary functions like choosing the heads on this tape echo and that kind of thing.
Nice. Okay.
You can adjust, if you hold down this button and adjust the modulation, you can adjust the speed of the modulation. When you let go, it's the depth of the modulation. So those are easy. That kind of stuff is always on a quick access secondary thing. To use an expression pedal is really, really easy. You hold down both of these switches here, and they'll turn a different color. You set your knobs the way you want them to be. For your heel down, hold down both buttons again. They'll turn a different color. Set it the way you want your toe down to be, and then hold them down again. They'll blink. They'll let you know you're done, and that's it. And now you can just crossfade between. So, for instance, if all you wanted to do was set it for your feedback amount on your delay, you could do that real easy by setting it for way down, heel down, way up for toe down, and then you could get all the positions in between. But it's not just one knob; it could be all of the knobs. So you can make it swing quite a bit. There's also a boost available. So if you want to, by holding down the switch and dialing up, I think the mix, there's a boost available that will, I think it's 10 dB, 15. I'll put up how many dBs it is. I don't know off the top of my head. But if you want that to be your solo patch or something, and you want to kick it on and get a little level boost, you can do that too.
Nice.
So he's really kind of thought of all.
It really is because I'm familiar with modulated delay pedals. I've had a few, and the only one I presently have is the big Victronics, right? The original analog one. And you can use an expression pedal on that, and as well as others. But the only thing you have an option to use on the expression pedal is delay time.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's your option, which is not a bad option. I mean, if you only had one, delay time's a good one because that's where you get all that weird,
See, for me, it would be mix. I'd rather have the mix.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to have it be anything.
It's nice to have it be
not just one anything, but whatever you want. Like you said, crossfade. You could have two completely different styles of delay effect.
No, I don't think it'll do it from delay to delay. I think it's all within one type of delay.
Okay. So that's a lot of parameters to tweak.
Yeah. We can try it, but I believe that's correct. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's true. But nonetheless, I mean, all these delays have got a lot of range, so you could really, do a. For me, mix would be the big thing when we see Andy Timmons. He's got this beautiful delay sound, and he's got the mix on his pedal. So when he really wants to get that room kind of swirling and stuff, he can do it. And I really think that's a cool ability to have. I think that's extremely useful going in solos. Even as you push up delay in a solo, the volume of delay, you're actually boosting your signal too because you're adding more signal to the room. So it does get louder automatically as soon as you add delay. So sometimes that, depending on the band, sometimes that could be enough to be your solo boost, just literally adding in some serious delay. So, and you would be surprised if you go see some of these guys live, Eric Johnson and Andy Timmons, all these guys, they use way more delay in their mix than you probably would think that they would at home. It's astonishing how your ear can follow the original signal so well, even if there's a lot of echo going on. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying go U2 or anything on it, necessarily, but just keep that in mind. You can typically get away in a band situation with more because the band covers up a lot of that, the room covers up a lot of that, the reverb covers up a lot of that. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, today, our signal chain, we're going to run out of this in stereo. We're running in mono from the Dirty Shirley, which is in mono. And we're going to go out stereo. We've got one side, we're going to go through a 2-Rock Studio 35 Pro, Studio Pro 35. And
never get that straight.
I never do, man.
And it's funny, though, because you have all the right parts of it. All the right parts are there. It's just putting them in the correct order.
It's my own personal Mr. Potato Head, okay?
Right,
and I don't.
Exactly.
It's like it always ends up a little.
It's a great sounding amp, regardless.
Yes,
that's funny.
Yes, I do. The 35 Pro Rock Studio 2. We've got one of those over there. and running through a 212. We're micing it up with a tube mic. And then on this side, we've got a Boogie California Tweed. We're micing up with a twin of the other mic. And then we're going straight into a digital recorder. So no preamps, nothing else. That's it. Straight to you guys. I'm going to turn off my overhead mic when we start listening to the guitar tones, so you won't have to worry about that. And let's establish a dry tone, because dear God, we've talked a lot.
What do you got for a guitar today, Jet?
Well, I've got a few in case we want to try different ones, but maybe this will suffice. This is
that's a nice one.
Double Esquire roasted pine, hollow, semi-hollow, I should say. It's pretty darn hollow. It's extremely lightweight. And it's got a reverse angled pickup down here in the bridge, which is kind of cool. So it's not quite so bright and brittle compared to a lot of tellies. And it's got the Esquire wiring set up, so it's a little different. I can dial in both pickups with a blend. This isn't a tone knob all the time. So anyway, be prepared for some slightly different tones than you might expect from a telly. All right, let's establish our clean tone before we get into this. Okay, nice basic tones.
I like that. The clarity is, it's gorgeous.
It really has a good kind of a usable sound, very musical, and that's what the show's about. Really musical and usable. Can you use it? Can you just go out and make music with it? So let's listen to the Friedman with no delay. Let's listen to straight Friedman and see what we got. I've got it set right now with all of the tone controls straight up and down. And I've got the gain also straight up and down, and I'll roll the volume up to get a good level, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, yeah, very usable overdrive.
Everything's straight up and down. It just it's hard to make a mistake with, right? I mean, it's just good right away. So let's add in. I'll go to the analog delay, and I'll keep the modulation down. I'll start with the mix, kind of like just up a little bit, kind of like 10 o'clock sort of a thing. Tone I'll have straight up and down, and actually have a little notch. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, but I think with the tone, you actually boost bass as you go low and you boost treble as you go high, besides cutting as well. Okay. So I think there's a little bit of that. But we'll find out. Right now it's going to be up the middle. And here we go. I'll turn the Friedman off for now. So you can tell right away, first sound, first basic setup, and already it's like, let's go play. It's just immediately good. I'll run through some of the, it doesn't change your settings as you go through the different types, which is actually kind of cool. So I'll go through the different types just so you can get a feel for what those might sound like. And I'm going to turn the mix up a little bit so you can hear a little bit better. The mix is unusual when you get to like 3 o'clock, almost all the way, about 75% of the twist. It's equal echo and original signal. If you go all the way up, it's all wet. So that's kind of cool.
So not a lot of room in between those two.
Right. So that's kind of cool. But you still have 70, but at least you can go all wet. A lot of people won't even let you go all wet. So that's kind of cool. All right. So that was analog. I'll go through them and I'll put up on the screen what they are. Actually, I'll tell you individually. So the next one is wet. This is a modulated one. I've got the modulation down right now. I'll put the modulation like 10, 11 o'clock, so that way if it does need it, it'll be there.
I like that.
It's nice, isn't it? It's kind
I like that. You just for fun, can you turn the modulation all the way up on that particular one to see what that does?
Okay, I'm gonna turn the tone up.
Or at least higher.
I'm gonna turn the tone up just a hair because it's a dark guitar.
Okay. Oh yeah, now you can really hear that wobble. Yeah, no, that's all right. All right. I know we haven't even scratched the surface here, and I know I oftentimes I do this. It's like, but this is how easy of a sell I am, especially on pedals.
You are I just like to say you're a premature adjudicator, is what you are.
I am a premature adjudicator, but I'll tell you why though. It's like if I get something that I really like out of it, even if it'll do 100 other things. If I really remember when we were talking about the first the DeLorean, whatever it was, right? So it's a DeLorean, right?
The DeLorean.
And so I already, before I heard the delay, it was like, doesn't matter, it's a DeLorean, right? So it wins no matter what. Now, as it turns out, it also had a very usable musical delay built in. So again, the same thing with this. The modulated delay already has to be sold. I love this pedal. And so anything else that it does that's awesome besides that is
gravy.
Those are great. That's great. Exactly.
And you remember I said the reason I liked this was I heard the modulation delay and went, oh, well, I gotta
it has the wacky, but it's controlled. Because a lot of them, like if you turned it up that far, you'd be getting some. I mean, it gets some. Not that there's anything wrong with that either. I like that, but sometimes you want to rein it in a little bit so it just
usable. It's usable,
immediately
usable, and it's hard to make a mistake with. And there's a lot of good sounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Oh, I can dial it in. It's I can dial that in, and there's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're two out of like 12 different types or whatever. So,
okay.
I'm going to the bucket brigade delay now.
Okay. Oh, it still has a little modulation, yeah.
Sorry, I had the modulation all the way up. I'll turn it back to halfway. Now, if I turn the feedback up on that, it'll really start to degrade.
Oh, yeah, that's outer space.
So it can do all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on to the Jet, which has got the flanger built in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, I really, really like that. Now, did I hear you say earlier that the modulation knob on that can either control the speed of the modulation or the amount of it?
Yes.
Depending on so that makes it even more interesting because we haven't even done that.
Right.
And because if the speed went up, then you'd get way more wobble. And on the flanger, because that was pretty sweet sounding flanger.
Let me mess with that right now on this one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So you can take it to the absurd, which I love.
It might not always be usable.
No. But the fact you can do that, it's just, again, more gravy.
So that's how long the delay is, at least in this particular setting, yeah.
That's on the Bucket Brigade?
No, this is on the Jet.
Oh, the Jet, okay.
Right, yeah. Okay, let's go to the Dock, which is, like I said, a duplication of one of their pedals. Sorry, I had all the settings super extreme, and then when I moved it, it chirped at me. Hang on.
It did a cool thing. I like that. Yeah, okay. I'm and I know we're not there yet, but yes, absolutely. And I see why you got excited about it. Okay, I totally, because at first it was like, okay, I mean, I've seen you get excited about a lot of different things, mostly for good reasons. Mostly there's, good reasons for all of them. But it's like, okay, well, another delay pedal, right? Because let's face it, you probably have 10, 15, not counting tape delays, at least 10 or 15 delay pedals in the studio, right? I've got a total of 2.
Yeah.
But I don't have a studio. I've got a music room, so a little different. But I'm thinking about a third one, and I was actually thinking about, it's hard to even want to say now, because now I'm thinking maybe this one, because I already like Wampler pedals, right? My favorite bass overdrive is the Wampler low blow, so
right.
That's the only Wampler pedal I own, so it seems like I should have another one. And this would certainly be.
And it's small. It does not take up a lot of space. It's really, and it's lightweight. It's not heavy.
Well, I'm using a delay this big right now on one of my boards, so it's.
Right. Well, you could get 3 of these in that
right,
space.
easily.
Yeah. But it's the overall sound. It's like why certain people like Neve preamps or API EQs or whatever. It's like,
yeah,
it just immediately sounds good right away.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, I like that. Let's all right. So let's just quick run finish it. So here's the tape echo version. FTE, I believe might be an emulation of one of their pedals. I believe it might be. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. I think this is the one you should play some dirt through this. That's some good stuff right there. Yeah, that goes together like two things that go together well.
Well spoken.
Well, you know,
Well spoken. You know how to
I'm
turn
getting
a
close to
phrase.
mastering this language.
You know how to turn. I'm sorry. No, mastering your language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know how to turn a phrase into something completely
These days,
different.
I'm telling you,
That's nice. It's nice. Hey, and listen, not a lot of noise. I mean,
No.
a single coil, and all of that's from the Friedman.
I've always liked that guitar, not just how it looks, but because it sounds like a Tele, but then again, it doesn't. It'll do some, like
It really will. Yeah, it really gets kind of a yeah.
instead of being that sort of almost. I hate to use the word jangly because I don't mean to say jangly.
Tinkly.
Let's say tinkly. I think we should say tinkly because it sort of is like that's what you think of with a Tele. You get that tinkly, bright top end, right? Mm. Well, you get that with this as well, but it's different.
Yeah,
it cuts the tinkly off and just leaves the clarity on the high end.
And I'll tell you, if you're going to cut the tinkly off, you got to be very careful. You really do.
Oh my God, you do.
I mean, ask a rabbi, right? Okay, so let's move on to ETH, which is their ethereal pedal duplication.
All right, this will be fun. Is it like a duel?
It has
like a pitch thing, or
I think it's a phase thing. I think it's a phaser, maybe. We'll look it up. We'll put it on the screen.
Delays seem like they're slightly pitched different too. It's like da, 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 da.
I think it might be a phase. Well, I'll research it, put it up on the screen. This is what it is because I'm not familiar with that pedal, but I kind of like it though.
It sounds awesome. I haven't heard a bad one yet.
But you see how the two pedals really work together well. It's the combination of the two is like they don't fight each other. The distortion doesn't get overwhelming or weird or give any weird artifacts. It's like it just keeps giving you what you want. I want some distortion. Okay, great. I want sustain. Okay, great. I want to cut through. There it is. Okay, I want some cool delay. Every setting blows me away. So here's the one labeled as mod.
Oh, okay. That's the chorusy delay.
Okay, I'm going to slow down the modulation here. Turn up the tone a little bit. Turn the feedback up just a hair and lengthen the delay a little. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. If I had three thumbs, they'd all, like I have Everything I've heard from this thing so far is both musical and usable and delightful.
Okay, I'm going to space.
Oh, I'm going to space with you then. Let's
Here we go. A little space echo. Even when it does that, it's cool. It's just fun.
It kind of does it all. It's like it's the do it all, sound great in the process.
Which is exactly what he said he was trying to get, was all
which
the
is
favorite delays.
Exactly what it is. And
Two
stereo
more.
in, stereo out, you kind of had me there. And then it's like, well, I mean, if it does all these things, one of them's got to be good. And like, well.
Okay, so this one is tape. It's called tape. Oh, I like that one a lot. That's a lot of fun. That one's like your Brian May setup there. That felt good. You know, the echoes coming back felt like guitar, like somebody's playing guitar.
There's nothing I've heard so far that isn't really, really good.
Right?
I mean,
right.
And anywhere from really, really good to freaking out of the park, amazing.
All right, last one. Last one. Here's the digital setting.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun, too.
Who doesn't like that?
It comes back so exact. It's like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. It makes you think totally differently than just like echoey spatial things.
Right. It's less spatial and more digital. But
it's just as unique but less spatial.
You gotta have. You can't just have one kind of delay though. Anyway, so even in my case, one of my delays has a multitude of different delay types. Right? It's like because you don't want to be stuck with one unless you get one specifically. Like for instance, like one of my favorite modulated delay pedals that's small is the Space Spiral Earthquaker Space Spiral. Awesome little modulated delay pedal. It's all it does, but it does it really, really well, that one thing. And it'll go from subtle to ridiculous, which again, I love getting, something that at least gets into ridiculous territory. It may not go complete bananas, but
right, sure.
That's okay. If you dip your toes in the pond, I'm okay with it. But yeah, this just has like everything that it does really well. And like you said in the beginning, it's musical and usable. It's musical.
And as a combination, they work great.
Yeah. That Dirty Shirley going into some of them, I forget what it was. It was some kind of like the flangery one or the one after it. The modulated one that had the chorusy modulation on it with I think it was with the Dirty Shirley. It was like, well, yeah. I mean, there you go. That's what you're looking for.
That's what you want.
Exactly what you're looking for.
So when you're looking for delay, I guess that's the thing that keeps coming back to me. The phrase is, well, that's what you want. When you want to play in a band, excuse me, and you want echo that sounds delicious, and it's easy to dial up, and you just want to get on with the playing. I mean, yes, you can tweak this within an inch of its life, but you don't have to. Now, here's the plus. Here's the plus that you probably won't get as excited about, but for me was... Your cat's got something to say. It was maybe one of the most exciting things about this was it comes with a plug. When you buy it new, it comes with a plug-in suite for your computer and your DAWs that mimics all of these. So you can have all these effects in your computer on your recordings as well without even using the pedal. So you can recreate whatever you do in your DAW immediately because you have the pedal and you can take it live, which is always one of the big things. How do you recreate what's on the album? Mm-hmm. And you don't even have to use the pedal when you record. So that's pretty cool for me, and that very nice of them to give that to everybody. That's really
I like
cool.
the 8 presets because truthfully, if you need more than 8 delay presets for any gig for any reason, then you're probably using too much delay. But
unless you're the edge. If you're the edge.
Unless you're but I mean for a regular guy who might wear tennis shoes or the occasional Python boot, that's all you need, 8. If you got 8, you got it covered.
Let me run through the presets they have real quick just to see, because these are the factory presets, see if they've got anything in particularly interesting that we didn't.
Usually they show something off.
Yeah, so let's do that real quick. And then I'll play. I've got some backing tracks here that I'll play and just dial up a couple of the presets so you guys can hear what it sounds like on top of music. All right. First, let me go through the presets. So that preset, I'll go all the way around to preset 1. It's one switch that you go, you get all 4 lights, and then you get combinations of the lights until you get all 4 lights lit, and then it starts back over again. So you just cycle through to get through the 8.
That might be your demo delay right there for to play over the tracks. That sounded like a really nice one for.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I might come back to that one. It's just musically inspiring all the time. It's like, oh, well, I can do something with that.
Yeah, what I've seen or heard from this pedal is not only does it give you a variety, but then within those varieties, it gives you everything from subtle and tasty, all the way to bombastic and kind of on the edge of lunacy, right? So you have within each style, you have this huge range because some of them are so subtle and so. They're almost like a light spring rain, where you don't need a rain jacket or an umbrella because you're not going to really get that wet. It's kind of like going through a mister at the amusement park. All the way to better put your rubbers on.
Yeah. I'd say it's a winner in every regard. I think it's time for my thumbs up. Yeah, it's big thumbs up.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and there's the seal of approval. There he is, Flippy. I've decided his name is Flippy. Flippy.
Might as well be.
Yeah, Flippy, the seal of approval. There he is.
Better than Bert. I thought Bert was like not a good name.
Bert didn't work out. We had him for 2 days. Yeah, it turned out he was a walrus. So that didn't work out. Walrus of approval made no sense. Right.
Neither of us are experts in that field.
No. But Flippy, he knows good when he sees it, and we know it when we hear it. We're going to take you out with a little playing over some tracks so you can get an idea. I'm going to go back to that setting you suggested there. I remembered which preset it was. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for another episode of Gear and Gigs. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, tell a friend, pass it along, subscribe if you haven't. And you know, we love that you guys watch us, and we love hanging out with you. For Reg, I'm Jet. You guys take care.